what's up? It's Ogie Blue. Welcome to the channel. So today's video is going to be a process video on how I made this sculpture called flippers. So yeah, let's get right into it. For the first step, I'm making an armature out of tinfoil. I'm just bunching it up until I get the shape that I want and the size that I want. I'm kind of going for like a pill shape. So now I'm making the legs out of tinfoil that I'm going to attach to the body. I'm basically just like making cylinders and like flattening the bottom. To attach these legs to the body, I'm just using masking tape and taping them all down. I made the tail out of some tin foil, and then I'm going to attach that to the body with some masking tape as well. For the trunk, I cut some wire and then I added tin foil around it and kind of bent it in the shape that I want. And then I attached it with some more masking tape. The legs weren't really secure enough, so I'm adding some more tin foil and taping it down to get it more supported. Now I'm using some more tin foil to make the wings that are going to go on this guy, so I'm just kind of bunching it up until I get it into the shape that I want. To add the wings, I'm using toothpicks. I'm sticking them in the body where I want the wing to go and then pushing the wing on top of it. And then I'm taping it down with some more masking tape. Now that the armature's done, I'm going to cover it with some sheets of clay that I got using a clay roller. Now that it's covered in clay, I'm just smoothing it out, which can honestly take a minute for bigger pieces. Now I need to make the armature for the treasure chest, and I'm basically just using some tin foil and bunching it up into like a rectangle shape that I like. Once the armature's done, I'm covering it in clay and smoothing it out until I get it to where I like. So now I'm sculpting the top of the treasure chest, and then I'm attaching it to the bottom. I'm using an X-Acto knife to kind of cut out a pocket where the treasure's going to be, and I'm pulling out the clay and the tin foil until I get it deep enough. Once that's done, I'm adding a sheet of clay and smoothing it out. Now I'm using some more tin foil to make the armature for the periscope. Once the armature is done, I'm using a sheet of clay to cover it in clay, and then I'm smoothing it out. I want the middle periscope to be detachable, so right now I'm cutting out a little pocket for it to sit in. So once I get the pocket deep enough, I'm adding a sheet of clay and smoothing it out. I'm using a toothpick to kind of indent lines to give it like a wood look. Now I'm adding a little bit of texture on top of it to kind of give it even more of like a wooden treasure chest look. I'm rolling up some clay that I'm going to be using as like kind of like the rim of the treasure chest, and then I'm attaching it and kind of smoothing out the edges. I'm rolling up some more clay to add like the trim on top of the treasure chest. And then I do the same thing to add like the bottom rim of the treasure chest. And then I do that process again for the very bottom of the treasure chest. I roll up some more clay to add like the trim to the corners of the treasure chest. Now I'm adding like a blob of clay to the front for the lock and then shaping it out with the ball stylus. I added some more clay up top for the top of the lock. Now I'm using some bacon bond to attach the little ball on top of the lock. Now that the treasure chest is done, I'm carving a bunch of stars out of a folded sheet of clay and shaping them out. Now that I got all my stars ready, I'm using some bacon bond to put them inside of the treasure chest. I'm using the end of a paintbrush to kind of shape out the sockets where the eyes are gonna go. And then I add some bacon bond in the sockets to make sure the eyes are nice and secure. And then I start getting the bottom covered with stars. I'm using some stars for the ears, so I'm attaching them where I want and then blending them in. I'm also adding stars that go across the spine, so I'm doing the same thing for them. So now I'm just rolling up some clay and making like some rings that are going to be used as the windows. Next, I'm just adding some bacon bond to the rings so that they stay nice and secure after I bake it. I have some smaller periscopes that I made for the wings, so I'm using some bacon bond and also blending some clay in around the bottom to attach them to the wings. Now I'm just making some indentations around some stuff to show that it's separate from the base. I'm adding a bunch of stars that I made all over the front. Next, I'm going to add this faceted citrine to the forehead. Now I'm just blending in the edges of the windows. To actually connect the treasure chest, I'm adding like a ton of bacon bond all over the bottom and then just putting it on top where I want it. Now it's ready to bake. I'm just checking that the periscope fits nicely so that when it's baked and cooled down, it fits in there nice and snug. Once it's done baking, it's ready to paint, so I'm starting off with some yellow. For the midsection, I'm doing an orange. For the tail end, I'm doing a pink. Now it's time to paint the stars. I'm using like a palish kind of a yellow. Next, I'm just blending the colors together. painting a white ring around the stone because I feel like it kind of just makes it pop more. Now it's time to paint the eyes. Now I'm making the trunk a rainbow. And I'm also making the rims of the windows rainbow as well. And then I'm filling in the windows with black. Now I'm making the smaller periscopes rainbow. And then filling it in with black. I wasn't really happy with how the yellow spine stars were looking, so I decided to make them rainbow. And now I'm finishing up the other side. Now I'm making the treasure chest rainbow as well. I'm also making the large periscope rainbow. All the rainbows are done being painted, so now I'm just blending them all together. So to make the treasure stars gold, I'm using some gold mica powder and some acrylic medium and mixing them together. Now that the gold's all done, I'm painting everything else inside of the treasure chest black. And then I start adding a bunch of stars. To give it a glow effect, I'm dry brushing halos around the stars. I'm using some resin now on the black parts with stars because I feel like the resin just really makes the black pop. I'm just doing some touch-ups now. A few areas needed a touch-up. I added some gold to the star at the end of the trunk. It's time to add a bunch of stars all over. Once all the stars are on there, I'm using a tiny paintbrush to dry brush halos around the stars to give it like a glow effect. And now we're done. So the story behind Flippers is that it's a galactic elephant submarine, and it collects and protects golden sea stars that can give you the ability to time travel. And it's also a transportation system to bring underwater spirits through rainbow portals. And yeah, that's the story. This guy is now available. I'll put a link to my shop and my social media down below. Thanks for watching and peace out.